introduce myself. I'm Tabia from the Confucius Institute. Really nice to see so many of you joining us tonight, interested in our talk. We've been putting on quite a few activities and events for students over the years, mainly to welcome you to Manchester, give you the opportunity to make new friends or learn new skills. And since we've moved everything online, we've been mainly focusing on well-being activities. But when it sort of came to April, May time, we thought this is the time when students really focus on their exams that are coming up and finishing their dissertations, and thinking about the steps that they need to take to you know, go the next step and do the next move into careers or further studies. So although we can't do that for you, we thought we would perhaps invite somebody that will be able to inspire you, and inspire you by telling her own story and telling her own journey, perhaps talk about some problems that she wished she would have known beforehand, that you can hopefully take away from tonight's talk. So we were really pleased when our previous colleague, Jessica Zhang, has actually agreed to come on and join us tonight for this talk. She's done really well in building a career for herself, and it all started with being a language teacher at a local primary school in Manchester that the Confucius Institute has been supporting. So yes, just quickly to tell you how this is going to work. We run our events for 1 hour. Jessica will be coming on shortly to speak for about 45-50 minutes, and then we'll have some question time at the end. Do engage with us in the chat, put all your questions to Jessica in the chat, and I will read them out at the end on your behalf. I also put a QR code on the screen in front of you. If you want to join us on WeChat, we've got a WeChat group, and we will be posting all our activities and events on there, so you'll be the first to know if you join us. And I also need to make you aware that we are recording this session. It will be saved on our YouTube channel, and I'll be sharing that link with you in an email next week. So just so you are aware. But that is enough from me. I'm going to take my video off, and I'm going to hand over to Jessica now.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. And thank you very much, University of Manchester Confucius Institute, for having me at this talk. My name is Jessica. And as you see on the talk description, I've been working for 10 years in the UK as a professional Mandarin Chinese teacher. I worked in different schools, many different schools, like state schools, Church of England schools, Catholic schools, international baccalaureate schools as well. Okay, so I think most of you here tonight are going to graduate this summer, and you would like to search some working experience in the UK and find a job. So I think I would like to share some of my stories that how do I find my jobs and build my career in the UK. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, my favorite picture here. My favorite picture, okay, so it's from one of my students 10 years ago. So every time the kids want to join me, I tell them, okay, if you want to join me, you have to make sure it look pretty. Okay, so today, okay, so I think when Karen first asked me to do this talk, I think how do I actually, summarize and concentrate so many experience into an hour talk and make it inspiring for people who are actually would like to look for employment in the UK, especially in UK schools. So therefore, okay, tonight I would like to put, I selected 4 most important job experience that I had in my career path. And also I have summarized few points that I learned through my career path, okay, which I think made the most benefit to me. Okay, so but before I start, I would like everyone to think about the question. Okay, think about question. If you don't have time, do it after this talk. So can you list 3 things that you believe you can do better than most of others? For the things, okay, I don't mean that you can probably eat 20 dumplings in 5 minutes. Okay, something to do with your profession. Something to do with your profession. 3 things that you believe you can do better than your competitors, than most of others. Okay, so when you get the answer, next question I'm going to ask you is, how do you make people believe that in a short time? For example, in an interview or in a meeting that you're trying to make a potential client to sign a contract with you. Okay, so the 2 questions. First one is something you need to, it's important that you have a clear understanding about yourself. Okay, you know your strengths, you know what you can do better than others. Okay, next one is, what are the smart ways you can use to make people believe you, to make people trust you and give you the opportunity. Okay, so I will explain why I think these 2 questions are so good using my own example. Okay, so first thing I found super important, okay, when you are, doesn't matter if you are trying to look for a job or you're trying to get a new client in your own business, is that you need to find out what are my strengths compared to others, compared to your competitors. Okay, so think about, ask the question, why me? Okay, why me? But think from an employer's or client's perspective. Why? Because if you cannot convince yourself, that you probably cannot convince others. Okay, and another thing I found super important is that, okay, you need to be proactive and you need to initially approach people and share your goals with people, and at the same time building a high quality network around you. Why? Because everyone could be your opportunity. Someone probably unpredictable even, I had a lot of experience, people that actually give me the most important push or lift me up to another step of my career, which those people who I never expected they will do. Okay, so I think it's important to share your goals, to share your ambitions and what you want to do with people and be proactive. It's very, very important. Another one, the most important one, okay, actually I think it's the most important one. So getting prepared for the future career as early as possible. Okay, maybe now you are a second year of in uni, or you're gonna graduate this summer. Okay, so you need to be prepared. Okay, so why? Because you never know when opportunity actually come. We don't mind, okay, if there's opportunity, we tried and we failed, but we only will feel regret when there's opportunity, but I missed the opportunity because the lack of preparation. Okay, so I would suggest, if you haven't prepared anything, I would suggest you to start to prepare from today after this talk. And also before we finish, I will briefly introduce why and how did I started my own business in education. Okay, so if you're ready, so okay, let's start. Let's start. Okay. Once upon a time, there's a Chinese girl who teaching English in the small city of Jewel of Hungary. Okay, so every good story starts from once upon a time. Okay, so my first teaching experience, as you say, is not in the UK, okay, but in a city called Jewel, a small city in Hungary. Hungary actually isn't my proper job, but a month of work placement that offered by my university when I was studying in Northern Ireland. So my first subject was TEFL, initial of teaching English of another language, as teaching English as foreign language actually. So the reason I choose to go to Hungary, actually you can choose to go, or you can choose to stay in local school in Ireland, is that I actually see this as a preparation for my proper future career. Okay, so before I actually go to Hungary, I had no idea, you know, what teaching actually feel like for someone to standing on the stage in front of a class of children or your student. So this is my school. I took this picture 10 years ago. Okay, the first day when I arrived at this school, and these are one of the class of children that I taught in Hungary. Okay, so why I think Hungary is so important? Because before this month of teaching experience, I had no idea, you know. I even was doubting really or not I actually choose a right career to be a teacher. But after Hungary, I was 100% sure that, okay, this is definitely something for me. Also, the month in Hungary definitely is not easy. Okay, it's actually very challenging because I actually was the only non-native English speaker in the group. We were a group of 12, and apart from me, all others are native English speakers. So I start to think a question. So as a non-native English speaker teaches English in Hungary, what are my advantages? So how do I actually make this seems like disadvantage into advantage? So that day I was sat in a hotel, I was staying, and with a piece of paper and writing down. I think, okay, I realized something that, okay, so as a non-native English speaker who teaches English, actually, I'm not only a teacher, I was also an English learner. So I know this language from not only a teacher's perspective, but also a learner's perspective. So I understand why the student feel difficult at particular parts or particular grammar. Also, you know, because of this process of learning, I can actually explain grammar, English grammar better than some of my native classmates. Okay, so also, you know, during my teaching, I was always using myself as an example to my student. You say, you know, you always say that you cannot learn English, but I am not a native English speaker, and I'm teaching English here with you. So if I can do, then you can do. You can do too. So that was very, how to say, very interesting, longest months and the most interesting and unforgettable months in my life. So every day, because every day I spend with the children in the school, we play ukulele and sing English songs. They're teaching me Hungarian. I learned probably 50 Hungarian with them. And I was telling them stories, Chinese stories in English, something like Journey to the West or Isho Monk. Okay, and before I leave, okay, they wrote something on the board for me that really made me believe that I could do, you know, I could be the best, you know, if I want. Right? See, he was writing something like, "You is the best teacher in Ireland," with some grammar mistake. Okay, so he means you are the best teacher from Ireland. Okay, so also, you know, that day I remember the last day in Hungary was one of the most emotional days in my life. On the day you know, there was a 15 minutes walk from the school to my hotel, and the kids walked me all the way to the school, and I walked them back, and they walked me again, and I walked them back again. We did 2 returns. So, you know, so that's super, just very, very emotional moment for me to say, you know, it's difficult to describe. Also, after a few days, I got a Facebook message from one of the students' mother, just writing to me saying, okay, Miss Jessica, we just want to say thank you because my son starting to work really hard on English because he wants to be an English teacher in China in the future. So you have no idea, you know, how fascinating when I felt when I reading this message. So I actually made an Hungarian boy wants to becoming an English teacher in China. Okay, so something super feels like a miracle for me. Okay, so also that made me start to think that as an educator, what value I can add to the student's life. Also, what are the influence I can actually make? How do I become an important inspirations and add values to my student? I still think about this question even today, all the time. So that's why I think, you know, Hungary is so important, even that's only 1 month experience. Also why I taught many people who asking me how to find a job. I told them that you need to get certain sort of working experience before you prepare for your formal career. So okay, so excuse me. So time back to 2008. And this is my first formal job in my life and in the UK, okay, in Manchester, in St. Paul's CE Primary School. So how did I get this job? It's very, very interesting. So when I finished my work placement in Hungary, I got back to my uni in Ireland. I start to writing my dissertation, where preparing my CV for some potential applications. And in the meantime, that Chinese language is starting to becoming popular in the UK, especially in England. I know that some schools start to introduce Chinese to their school. So I was thinking, okay, they probably could be one of my opportunity and one of my choice. You know, that time, that was the first year, as just like now, okay, PSW visa started to be introduced. So I think I shouldn't waste the 2 years of opportunity. Then, so I often talk to people, you know, that what are the chance? Is there any ways you can show me, you know, any ways to be a Chinese teacher or something? Where should I apply? So one day, one of my friends sent me a newspaper. I remember that's Manchester Evening News with a job post that's St. Paul's CE Primary School in Manchester is looking for a full-time Mandarin Chinese teacher with the support of Confucius Institute of University of Manchester. So I think, wow, okay, I didn't even doubt a little bit. I just wrote, I just running back to my apartment and starting to prepare my CV. Okay, so I spend a lot of time because I know that my experience is limited. I only had like 1 month teaching experience in Hungary. So I spent a lot of time to writing down under the job title. I was writing down, okay, everything that I have learned and I've achieved during my teaching experience. And also I printed some pictures that I had with the children in Hungary and sent to the school. To be honest, I really didn't expect I would get a reply, because I know that, you know, firstly, I'm so far away from Manchester. I was in North Ireland that moment, and also I have very limited teaching experience. And in Manchester, there are so many Chinese people. Why they should choose me? Until the day, I remember very clearly that day. Okay, one of the highlighted day in my life. I was sitting in a cafeteria with one of my professor, and I got a phone call from Dang, from my dearest Mr. Dan Berry, okay, who also, who lately becoming my first boss and one of the most inspiring person. He's also here today, so if you have questions for him, you can ask him later. Okay, so I got the question, I got this phone call from Dan telling me that they're offering me an interview, and also they will pay for my flight and accommodation. How nice is that? Okay, you can't imagine. Okay, my feelings like that moment. My feelings like a rocket can shoot. Okay, straight out of the ceiling to the moon. Okay, wow! I just got the first formal job interview in my life. Okay, after I got this job, I did ask Dan why you give me this, why you give me this opportunity to come for interview. So Dan told me that your CV look really interesting. Okay, so there's a Chinese girl who teaching English in Hungary, and also from your CV and the things that you wrote, we can feel your passion of teaching and your connection with children. So I went to the interview. I remember that day. Okay, very, very interesting. So I was there 45 minutes early, and the reception lady was asking me, "Oh, why are you here so early?" I said, because I had no idea, you know, how long they're gonna take me to get here. So I came out an hour and a half early. And I remember that when they were, had no experience of interview or whatsoever. So when they were asking me, okay, why, I remember Dang, and by the time the deputy head, Mrs. Bess, was asking me why you are applying the job in St. Paul's. And I said, because I love children. I remember very clearly, okay, everyone was laughing. Okay, so, and also I had like 10 minutes teaching time with the children, with one of the year one class. Not very long then afterwards, I got this, they called me that I got this job. Meantime, I was still holding a student visa. Okay, so I had some challenging getting, you know, getting the working visa sorted in a short time. But unfortunately, I don't have time to share too much about that. So then, okay, I become the first full-time Chinese teacher in Northern England. And this is on the Manchester Evening News as well, okay, as well. And I have to say, you know, I always believe that your first job should be your best teacher. So I was lucky that I got my first job in St. Paul's, because they're not only a very outstanding school in Manchester, also they have a group of very, very professional and helpful educators who I learned a lot from. Okay, so not only I have to say I made most mistake in St. Paul's, and I learned most in St. Paul's. Okay, I made lots of mistakes. I made mistakes every day at the beginning. Okay, like I was crying every day. When especially I remember one day I was trying to tie a shoelace of children, for children, and some teachers telling me that, oh, you can't do this. I think, why? You know, why I can't help the kids tie the shoelace? So one of the very experienced TA was telling me something I can still remember today. She said to me, okay, so you let the children to be struggling, and the learning today will benefit them in the future. I remember the lady's name, Mrs. Greenwood. I still remember her day. Okay, so St. Paul's, I had 3 years, very wonderful time in St. Paul's, I have to say. During this time, we also went to China together. This is me and Dan and Zhang sitting in our partnership school in Beijing. Also, we were co-teaching a lesson. So we introduced the difference of education style between China and the UK to our partnership school in Beijing. Those very great experience for me. And I have to say, you know, you really have to appreciate the person who gave you the first opportunity. Okay, and then I have to say thank you very much, Dan. Okay, thank you for trusting me. So okay, also, so after I got this job, I did ask Dan why you choose me, why you choose someone who just graduated from the university and has a very limited working experience. So Dan told me that, okay, so you have from your CV and your interview, we can feel your passion to teaching. Also, we can see the connection you made with the children. Okay, that's why I said you have to always realize your strengths. Okay, compared to what are your strengths as a, for example, a newly graduate student. So compared to other people, compared to some people who might have more experience than you. Okay, so have to say, St. Paul's, I had a wonderful 3 years in St. Paul's, and after 3 years, I think, okay, it's a time to make some change, and it's time to experience more. So I made a move to a secondary school. How did I get this job? Is also very interesting. Okay, so I went to this place, to this academy for a meeting. And after that, I sent an email to also with my CV and the cover letter to the head of a Chinese department. I said, okay, if you have any teaching opportunity, please let me know, because I would like to experience secondary education and teaching GCSE. So not very long, I got a reply, okay, and inviting me for an interview and a demo lesson. So after that, I got this job in this academy. So it's a state secondary school. The students are learning from local and learning GCSE Chinese. Also, the interesting thing about the school is that the only second language they do is Mandarin Chinese. I'm not sure about now, but in the meantime, I was there, it was like this, okay? So this school is very special. I have to say, super special, okay? It's one of the government's supporting project, I think. The school feels like a spaceship. I'm not exaggerating. So why? Okay, everything's voice controlled. And the most interesting thing is that they don't have classroom. They have something called plaza, okay, which is kind of a open plan style environment, learning and teaching environment. You might say, wow, that's amazing, right? But, okay, listen to the but. If you're a teacher there, you will realize that this actually made your life 100 times more difficult. Okay, for example, like there was 10 students in the class, and I was writing the date on the board. So when I finished writing, I look back, there's 3 left. So only 3 students left. So I have to send an email to the reception lady. Okay, please, if you see this student, please send them back. Also, you know, I remember, I have to say, secondary school is a lot challenging than primary school. You need be more formed and more like, for example, classroom behavior, management skill to work in secondary school. I still remember the first day I was be told to teaching year 11 class. And when I get into the plaza, okay, the area, there's 7 boys, I remember very clearly, with a big headset, play games on the computer. So I said, okay, boys, it's time for a lesson. And one of the boys just turned back to me, didn't even take off his headset, just turned back to me, say, how old are you, ma'am? 18? Okay, I couldn't, I was standing there, I was saying, okay, what I'm gonna do, okay? So although like this, I think I finally managed to deal with some behaviors like this, and also I have to say I learned a lot in the school. And at the end, me and the student had a very good relationship. I was even invited to their McDonald's party before I leave the school. So I have to say, if you would like to start your teaching career in secondary school, okay, so I think it's worth for you to take some course to learn some important classroom management skills and the way to communicate with teenagers, because they are very different from primary school, and also I think it's more challenge. So my very recent employment experience is in the international baccalaureate school called International Community School in London. The reason I moved to London is that I think maybe it's time for me to do something different, to expand my knowledge. Okay, so I personally believe that you should always expand your knowledge by doing more or doing different. So I think I had a primary school experience, I had a secondary school experience, and this is time for me to explore international curriculum. That's why, so also it's very interesting, okay, the process that I got this job. Once I had this idea that I would like to work for international school, I started to search online, and I made a list of schools that offering international baccalaureate program. And I sent them, all of them, my CV and an email. See, I always proactively approach people. So I think it's important because you never know, who can offer you the opportunity. And so I sent probably my CV to 7-8 different schools, and I got one reply from an American school. The headmaster from the American School of London, saying, "I'm sorry, we are not looking for a new teacher, but I know that the other school is looking for a Chinese teacher. So this is where I'm working at, this school, okay?" So then I sent my CV to the school he mentioned. So I went on interview, and I got the job. I remember there was 3 interviews. First interview and the 2 demo lessons, one in primary school, one in secondary school. Okay. Also for applying international school, my experience in St. Paul's helped me a lot, because St. Paul's, as an inclusive school, they have students coming from more than 50 different countries. And so this actually gave me experience working with students with different nationalities and cultural background. So I got the job in international baccalaureate group. So I was facing the new challenging, like, for example, most of the kids are not even speaking English. So they're learning Chinese at the same time they're learning English. Okay, I got parents telling me that, okay, my son is speaking Chinese better than English. Okay, so also because the kids in international schools, they move a lot. Okay, they move a lot. They probably spent in this country for half a year, and then they spend half a year in another country. So you have to always write very clear, very detailed reports for them to take to another school. So special things about international baccalaureate curriculum is that they have it in every country, and every country, they're doing the same curriculum. Okay, so that's why it's getting very popular for people who are traveling a lot. So yeah, so I think, okay, of my job experience, I got the job mainly by approaching people. Okay, I actually did not get any of this job from website or like Indeed or anything. That's why I always tell people that it's so important to be prepared and to be proactive if you really want to get opportunity. So then I would like to talk about, okay, so getting prepared for the future career and what do you need to do. Okay, if you haven't got any of this, I recommend you start to prepare from tomorrow or straight after this talk. Okay, so CV, for example, you need to prepare a CV, a general CV. Okay, a general CV, what I mean about general CV is that you got the CV you can send to places you would like to work at. Maybe you have no idea if they're looking for somewhere or not, but the CV that you use to approach people, you use to introduce yourself. Okay, so on the CV, okay, you need to write a little summary, okay, short but strong. Need to be short but strong, okay? Also your work experience. But people are telling me that, what if I don't have a lot work experience? Okay, that's fine. That's why I said, in order to make your CV look interesting and colorful, you should try to do some any kind of work, even as voluntary or helping. Okay, they might not make you a lot of money, but it can be the key that opens your formal career. Okay, then under the job title, not only the job title, okay, try to write as much as the bullet point that things that you have achieved and you have learned from this job experience. Okay, not only a job title, what I've been doing this here, what I've been doing here, but things that you have learned and you have achieved. For example, okay, I have helped 11 students pass the GCSE Mandarin in this year. Write down bullet points like this and be specific. Be specific. Okay, so this is a general CV that you can send to everyone. Also, okay, when you are actually preparing for a specific job, okay, if you are preparing for a specific job, every time please edit your CV according to the job description. This is my little tip. Okay, so I'm not telling you to make up stories, okay, but you need to know what the employers actually looking for. For example, this one, if you look at this job description, they're looking for a teacher who can set targets correctly and track the students' progress. Also, great classroom management. Also, you can set a task that to a group with a student with different levels. Okay. Also, they're looking for someone can work with SEN student with special learning needs. So then you need to know what they're looking for. Then you go back to your CV to write down specific elements that matches their requirements. Okay, you can even highlight, okay, the things that you would like them to say. In other words, you're trying to make yourself, okay, look as the perfect option for the employer. So you need to edit CV every time with every different job description. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding to how to do this, you can always ask me after this talk, because we don't have a lot of time to talk here. Also, interview. Imagine that if your great CV has got you an interview opportunity, okay? For me, interview equals job, okay? So if you never invited to an interview, fine, okay? But if you are invited to an interview, you have to get the job, okay? Interview equals job. Okay? Tell yourself that interview equals job. In order to achieve that, you need to be 100% prepared. Okay, so firstly, do some research about your employer. For example, you're invited to an interview to a school, to an international school. Okay, you need to know that. Okay, when, what kind of, how many year group in the school and how many class in each year group. Okay, so you can, during the interview, you can tell them, okay, I realize that you have, for example, 6 different foreign languages in your school, and how do you balance that? A question like this. So it's not only show your seriousness about this job, okay, also shows your ability of research as well. Also, same as a CV, prepare the interview according to the job description. Okay, you know that what kind of employee they're looking for. You need to make yourself sounds perfect and ideal to them. Okay, to them. So also try to lead the interview. I'm not mean that you have to lead the interview all the time, but partly lead the interview. Do not only they ask you answer. They ask you answer. Okay, trying to make them ask you the question that you prepared and you would like to answer. Okay, like for example, people say, okay, I went to the interview and they didn't ask anything that I prepared. What do I do? So you actually should use a smart way to ask questions that make them to ask a question that you would like to answer to show your ability. For example, if you are very good at working with SEN students, you can ask the interviewer that I saw that you have a different type of SEN student in your school, and how do you support them in specific ways? Okay, so, and then I'm sure that they will ask you, okay, so seems like you know something about this. Can you tell me something about your experience? So then you can tell them something that you're really good at. Okay. Also, when they're asking you some questions like, um, for example, how is your classroom management skill? Okay, you need to show that your ability using specific examples, things that you actually done. Or if you don't have this experience, try to create scenarios. Try to use specific examples, especially if you're applying for a teaching job. They're asking you something very, very practical. Okay, do not tell them, okay, I'm very good at classroom management and I can do this, I can do that. Trying to use scenarios like this. Okay, for example, like you can say, if I'm teaching a lesson in year 5 lessons, in year 5 class, and there are 2 children who are constantly chatting and laughing. Other children are starting to lose attention. What I'm gonna do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you give the interviewer a very clear idea that this person can do the job. This person knows that what he or she is doing. And this person is confident about what he or she is doing, okay? Always use specific examples of problem solving or anything. It's not actually only for teaching job, for any job. These tips can use for any job, okay? So also another thing I didn't put on the PowerPoint is that referees, okay? So you need to find, if you don't have, now you need to start to think. Find 3 people who know you well and appreciate your performance. To be your referee, ask them to approach them. Ask them, okay, if I am looking for a job, would you happy to be my referee? And be your professor, your lecturer, or the boss that where you did voluntary work at. Okay, I think because today's time is very limited. Okay, if you have questions about generate a CV, editing CV, or preparing for interview, please well you're more than welcome to contact me after this session. Okay, but remember to be 100% prepared, so you do not lose any opportunity. This is what I do every time when I prepare for a job application or interview. Okay, so finally, I want to just briefly talk about what I'm doing now. how and why I started my own training business. Okay, so I studied Sophia Chinese because after years of teaching, and I've met different people, professions with different professions from different industry. And with the time being, okay, so there's more and more industries starting to have link with China. And more people starting to trying to learn Chinese. But the problem they're having is that they can't find the, for example, like people from retail, they want to learn different. Actually working in telecom or oil business. Bespoke our course for our clients. Okay. I can show you, this is our website. So our slogan is learn Chinese in a creative way. Okay, so we always be creative and trying to make bespoke different courses for people in different industry. For example, now we have realistic Chinese and also retail and travel Chinese. So if you're thinking about building a training business in education, so I will suggest you should gain some working experience first. Okay, so you know what your potential customers want. For example, if you're building education business and your potential customers are school children, so you need to know what they're learning. Okay, you know their curriculum, so it'll be a lot easier for you. Also, by working, you can build a high quality network around you. Then people who can help you start a business. Also, you need to decide the scale of your business. You want to make a big one, okay, or grow in 5 years, or you just want to stay in a small size of maybe a couple of people, like family business. So this moment, what we do is that we are offering corporate Chinese training to companies like Bank of China and other companies. Okay, where some Chinese companies that got for foreign staff or British companies that has a business with China. Also, we have some creative work like daily Chinese. Like daily Chinese. That this is something I designed and I post every day on our Instagram. So it's a picture with one sentence, and I will explain a couple of words of each sentence. So I make this post every day, so you can have some input every day. It's also a way of promotion for the company. Also, we have, for example, some cooperative work with one of my business partner in China, who is a quite well-known Chinese artist and illustrator called Nanting Van. Liang Lion books and especially nonsense Chinese. Why I studied nonsense Chinese is also because one of my students was asking me, why you never teach us some funny and bad words, some funny words. Why you never teach us some funny words, right? So I think yes, why not actually? So we started nonsense Chinese, and this is getting very popular, especially this character. His name is Blacky Cat. Okay, it's created by ourselves, and it's getting very popular on Instagram. If you're interested, please have a look on our Instagram. Also, from last year, we started to offer online lessons to professionals, to teenagers, and school children as well. So now online lessons getting very popular too. Okay, and basically, okay, this is everything I'm gonna talk today. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding to, doesn't matter, regarding to interview or CV or even classroom management, or specific stories about you. If you want to hear more story about school, okay, I'm happy to communicate more. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jessica. That was really, really interesting. Thank you. What a journey you've been on, and yeah, so many experience you've gained, and I'm sure that's all down to your
Actually,
drive and yeah, ambition. It's very fascinating.
I deleted over 15 slices because I know that times, you know, I know times is very limited. So,
Yeah, we run these events for an hour. So yeah, I'm sorry that we have to cut you off here, but we have got a couple of questions. Perhaps there's some more coming in as we are talking. The first one, Tracy would like to know what you actually studied at university. She missed that at the beginning.
At the beginning, I studied TEFL, which is an initiative of teaching English as a foreign language. So my original plan was not teaching Chinese here, but I was going to go back to my country, China, or some non-native, non-English speaking countries to teach English. Then, you know, I also got my second degree as a early year education.
Right. Okay. And then Adi asked the question, what do you write in a cover letter? He feels that it's often very similar to your CV in terms of content.
Very good question. Okay, in cover letter, I made a slide about cover letter, but I deleted because I think there's not enough time. So cover letter also, you need to write, okay, differently to different employer. Okay, if this person is, if this employer is looking for this quality, this quality, this quality, you need to write in your cover letter, okay, things that can prove you can do all these things that they asked. Okay, specific examples, not too long. 1 page is enough. I think 1 page is enough, but you have to prepare accordingly to different job description. Okay, just say, okay, first just introduce yourself, okay, to whom may concern that I would like to apply for this job. And I believe that my experience and my knowledge can match your requirement. Then second paragraph, you give specific examples and what you have been doing.
Thank you. We've got another question that relates to networking opportunities. A student would like to know what they could do or what you could recommend for network building, given that most of the connections they currently have are with classmates.
With classmates.
With other students.
So do you mean like a campus hold, like university hold events, stuff like that? I think, you know, for me, when I was, I like to go to I like to go to business events. I don't know why, I'm just interested. So even while I was a school teacher, I often go to business events held by, for example, CBBC or different business organizations, where I can meet people from all different industries. Then we can share ideas. So I don't believe that you should always stay in the same circle. You should have friends. You should have connections in all different industries. Like I have connections in real estate. I have connections in art, in music, in finance. So you know what's going on in, you know, everywhere in the world. Everyone can be your inspiration too, can be your opportunity too. So for events, I think, you know, rather than only go to campus hold events, I will recommend everyone to go to different events, like business events, where you can do not go to events like, okay, opera something that you just sit there and you don't make any connections. Okay, go to the events that you can talk to people. you can chat with people, you can talk to people, and even meet professionals. You know, why you choose this job, and what do you feel like doing your current job? I often doing this when I was a student, so I think it's very, very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps that's where the career service at the university could help as well, with some industry-specific networking opportunities.
So many events in Manchester, especially.
Yeah, that's all the questions in the chat. I just wanted to ask, when you say that people could get back in touch with you, do you want me to share your email address in the email that will be sent around?
Yes, of course. Yes. Yeah. Because we have a very limited time, you know, so I actually, I've been doing lots of talks to people who wants to look for a job in the UK. So if you would like to discuss more, or even if you want to know particulars, you know, finding stories or challenges about different schools, you're more than welcome to contact me.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure everybody's appreciating that. I've got one more question from me. I just think, if you are a student, I think one of the biggest challenges is that almost employers are looking for experience, and it's difficult to you know, what are you going to talk about, how are you going to get experience? So do you have any idea what students could do to proactively to
Very good question. Okay, so for example, okay, you're studying education and you would like to get a job in school. Okay, so search what are the local schools around you, and okay, write a CV and send to them. Say, can I do some voluntary job in your school? Maybe like a helper, like a teaching assistant, temporary teaching assistant, something. Okay, so for that, I think you need a CRB check as well. Okay, just CRB check down. Yeah. So be proactive. Approach them. Okay. Even like a kindergarten or training schools. Okay, I remember when before I got job in St. Paul's, I went to a local nursery school. I said, if I can, can I work an hour every day here? You know, I don't need any pay. I'm afraid. Please take me. So
yeah, that's really, I think that leads on to another couple of questions that have just come in. Emma is asking where she can obtain primary school recruitment information. I think she probably means where are jobs advertised. Perhaps there are some tips that you could give them.
I actually never get my job from website, but there's a website called TES, TES. Okay, there's all sort of teaching jobs post on TES. Also, we have got down here. We've got headmaster here. Do you want to ask, do you want to tell this this person where to look for a job in school? I think Dan cannot switch on his.
There you go. Yes, thank you, Jessica, and thank you for your kind words. And just before I answer the question, I just want to reinforce the point you made about preparation. When people come for a job, it's clear when they've done the proper preparation, and you've really amplified that point. The other thing I might advise people is, when you're looking for a job, you're looking at the employer as much as they're looking at you. And I always think you should be looking at an employer who gives good career development opportunities, professional development. And I always thought that was something we were good at St. Paul's. But however, going back to getting a job, the Times Educational Supplement, TES is what you're talking about. It's a while since I've been involved in schools. I retired soon after Jessica was with us. But you've got to look at local schools. They will advertise probably through their local councils or academies. I'm not exactly sure nowadays. The game's changed a lot recently.
So my suggestion, okay, let me add something, okay. Just write the CV, get everything prepared, and send to 100 different schools.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my way of doing things. Okay, send to them and say, okay, I'm looking for opportunity. Please let me know if you have opportunity, and they might not now. And when there's a opportunity come up, they will contact you. I got.
Sorry to.
Sorry. Yes.
You first.
No. You can.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Jessica.
No.
Yeah, I want to ask. Could we find a job because after we graduate from the college, ending our MA course, but we don't have the QTS.
Well, I don't have QTS.
Whoa. So the schools in England could hiring the employers without QTS, or?
So I didn't have QTS. Okay, I didn't have QTS. Okay, I didn't have QTS at the beginning. So depends. Okay, depends. I did got my QTS, but I did not study something like PGCE.
Yeah.
If your goal is to working in national curriculum, especially state school, okay, so you do need a QTS, or you better maybe will be more straight away for you to do a PGCE. Okay, but if you're working, if you want to working for international school, for example, international baccalaureate or American schools, PGCE is not something you have to have.
Thank you so much.
Also, they have in-campus training as well. You can always get a job and do your QTS in the school. Yeah. Some school offers this opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you. We've got one more question in the chat. Lucy's asking, how do you actually start a conversation with a stranger in a business conference or like networking meeting?
That's a question for me. It's easy, right? When you have for example, you have a drink in your hand, right? Like Sue's doing now, you have a drink in your hand. You say, hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm here, tonight to meet new people. And what are you doing? How are you today? What are you doing? So say, oh, who I am. You can even. I get first set of my own business card when I was a student. Okay, which I designed by myself. The drawing of my name and my email, WeChat. Okay, you can even prepare a little business card. Okay, just tell them, just talk to people. It's not that difficult. Just talk to people and say, introduce yourself, and talk to them. What is your ambitions? What you want to achieve? What job you want to get? Okay, so I there's a funny story about me. I was in an event 2 years ago, and I met a guy from one of the quite big real estate company. So we shared information, and I taught them something, the growing market in China, blah blah. And the next day, he was actually inviting me to their company for interviews. He was saying, "Okay, do you want to work for us? Do you want to work in real estate?" So you never know, right? You really, this word is just so miracle. You never know who can be your opportunity. Maybe it's a stranger, but you have to talk to them. You have to make them to know you first. Okay, otherwise nobody knows you, and you can't just sit at home and wait for the opportunity to come. You need to be proactive.
I think this is a wonderful sentence to finish tonight. I'm conscious of the time, and I would like to thank you so much, Jessica, for coming on and sharing your journey. I'm sure it's been an inspiration for everybody that's joined us. I would just say, yes, be proactive, put yourself out there. Once we finish this talk, take a pen and paper and put down, like Jessica said, 3 things that you're good at. That's always a really good starting point. And yeah, I wish everybody the best of luck who's making the most of the graduate route and using that opportunity to stay in the UK and gain some work experience after your studies.
Yes, you're welcome to contact me. Okay, if you are preparing your CV or preparing an interview. So hopefully I can give you some useful advice.
Fantastic. So I'm going to end this now. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.